What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a quick update on the markets and break down how things are looking. I'm also going to give you guys a very quick summary of what Jerome Powell said and how this could affect the markets, and another big catalyst that's coming out for the markets. Let me first mention that I'm not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. Deposit $100 in your guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $1,000 in your guaranteed 15. And the offer ends in just about 6 hours from now. Anyways, what's happening with the market is we had Jerome Powell give his speech. He said that inflation remains somewhat above their long-term goal, but they are going to be working very diligently to be continuing to just address, what people have to say. They're going to continue to look at the data and do what's very necessary for them to make the progress that's necessary. He also mentioned that when it comes to the way things are looking, they're going to monitor the labor market and such. And the Fed is once again being very indecisive. So when basically asked about are they going to continue to cut rates? Do they have any plans to do so? Powell is just saying that once again, they will not necessarily give us a definite answer. It depends on the data. He continued to say that. He did confirm, however, that a rate cut in September would happen if the data does not surprise them. So if they get really good data, they're going to likely do a rate cut in September. But we can't say that for sure until we see the data. He kept on saying that he's optimistic about the economy. Things are growing. He was asked about a recession. He says that as of right now, the data does not suggest that. And if anything, things are looking better than what many people had projected. When it comes to rate cuts, everyone was just questioning him again and again about them. He is saying that once again, the Fed cannot confirm anything right now. They have to look at the data. If the data is once again close to what they're expecting, then yes, there is a good chance that they're going to go for it. But he then continued to say that he can't confirm it, though. It depends on the data. So he kept saying the same thing again and again. Then he was asked about the economy, how things are looking, the labor market. He said that they're just going to watch the labor market carefully and that right now the unemployment rate's not at a very bad place. And he said that, if anything, when asked about the chances of a hard landing, he said that it's unlikely still. So he actually said that the market was more positive about that. And when it comes to the rate cuts, he's basically instilling a little bit more confidence than before in the markets that we're going to get one eventually. We just don't know exactly unless we see the data. But he's saying that as long as the data is good, at least continuing moving forward for the next few months, the September rate cut is very probable. So he's implying that the market had a more positive reaction. Once Jerome Powell finished his speech, obviously the market's going to tip a little bit. That doesn't really matter right now. What else is going to matter is this new catalyst. So the catalyst is right over here. After the market ends up closing, we have Meta announcing their earnings. Whatever Meta announces will have a big effect on us. If they do very well, expect the market to rally, especially going into tomorrow. If they do poorly and we get a rug pull, this could cause the market to dip a little bit. So you want to be very careful. So for Tesla, we technically have a somewhat slanted head and shoulders like structure, but it's not that bad. It's actually doing a good job at holding up. I'm going to be watching this 232 area. This is where we have our 200 EMA. If we get a rejection tomorrow off this could be a head and shoulders. If we continue to break out, if Meta does very well, we could push higher. Now, instead of a head and shoulders, you can also interpret this as like a cup and handle. So Tesla, in my opinion, looking at the structure, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. If we break this high here, this is going to turn very bullish, and 240 would likely be coming. So Tesla looks more bullish, technically speaking, but I'm going to be watching to see how we react to this 200 EMA, the 232 area. So we'll give it some time. We look like we do favor upside, but we'll see what happens with Meta's earnings. But that brings my next warning. If you guys want to hold overnight, you'll have to hold through Meta's earnings. We'll have to see how things look, and we'll have to see how things end up going. As far as SPY goes, we have a nice double bottom like structure. This favors upside unless we lose this support right here at the 547 area. If we lose 547, this thing is going to be tipping back down again. So be careful. As long as we hold above that, this does favor upside, technically speaking. We could continue to rally towards the mid 550s. Now, this also depends on Meta's earnings. I can't promise anything about that. So if you're going to hold overnight, be careful and just keep that in the back of your mind. The same thing can be said about, ES and the others out there. ES still has this gap, still hasn't fully filled the gap, but we're kind of dipping a little bit and we're approaching our 200 EMA. Same thing with SPX. We're dipping just a little bit. We're going to give this some time as well just to see how things end up progressing. I favor upside for tomorrow and beyond as long as we get decent earnings from Meta. If we don't, things could get kind of complicated, so just be careful. We have a lot of these semiconductors running. We have Nvda on fire. It's approaching that 118 resistance, not to mention 120. And we have support at 116. So far, it's doing a good job at pushing. So I'll have to give this some time just to see how well Nvidia does. But it's favoring upside in my personal opinion. So it's looking pretty good heading into tomorrow. Bitcoin is kind of dipping a little bit. We're going to be looking at support at this 65,500 area. If that breaks, we could be dipping all the way down here towards the 64,600 area. So give this some time. This is going to be very, very key. But overall, we're doing a good job at holding up. So we'll see. It all depends on Meta. Same thing with the QQQ. We're approaching our 200 EMA at 472. That's the level we called out. If we get a good amount of earnings from Meta for tomorrow, this thing is going to rally easily to the mid 470s. If we get a rug pull, Meta does not do well, look at 465 as key support, and we'll be coming back down. As of right now, we do favor upside, but we have this tough resistance. This depends on Meta's earnings. Same thing with Aapl. Aapl looks more bullish. As long as we hold above 220, this will favor and move all the way back up towards 225. We're looking more bullish. If we end up losing 220, we could be dipping back down to fill the gap. This is favoring upside. We'll see if Meta helps us. So that's going to be another big factor, but so far, Aapl looks pretty good. Coinbase is dipping a little bit. We still have that head and shoulders like structure. We'll have to see if we hold above 222. We could be dipping to 225, so we'll see if 222 holds as we have this gap. As we have this gap down here, so we'll see how it goes. Amazon's trying to push right over here, trying to break its 200 EMA. 188 and 190 are two resistance levels. This is favoring upside for a push for 190. We'll see if Meta helps us, though. If Meta does not do well, we can still come back down towards 184. So we'll see if Meta helps us. Meta's on fire right now, pushing for 476. If we get good earnings, this could easily start squeezing. If not, look out below. We'll have to see if we can try to hold at least 460. So be careful. Meta typically makes big moves after earnings. It's going to be key for the markets. Microsoft is also pushing. We're looking at 419 to 420 as resistance. If that breaks, we could continue to rally, so we'll have to give that some time. And then the last but not least, we have Google. Google's also trying to rally. It looks more bullish from a technical standpoint. It's favoring a push back up to 176, but we'll see with Meta's earnings. So as far as the market goes, Jerome Powell is a green check. He gave the market more positive remarks. He was implying that a rate cut is going to be coming as long as we get good data. So that's good news. As long as the data is not a surprise for the Fed, we get decent data for inflation, the rate cut will be coming. We have to wait and see what the data tells us, obviously, just to be safe. But Powell is implying that things are looking better and more poised for that cut eventually. So that's good for the markets. Jerome Powell has been a more positive factor. To get a follow through move to the upside, we just need a decent amount of earnings from Meta. If earnings are not too good, if Meta gets a negative reaction, the market could, get a little bit complicated. We could actually see a little dip. So it all comes down to Meta's earnings. If you're holding anything overnight, this is your warning. So please be careful, guys. Do what you have to do. Tesla's doing a good job at holding up. It's fighting for its 200 EMA. We'll give this some time and see. Will this be a slanted head and shoulders for a rejection? Or will this be more of a cup and handle for a big rally? We'll see what Meta gives us. So a big move is coming tomorrow. So get ready, guys. It's going to be absolutely incredible. With that being said, thank you for listening. I'll see you guys in a couple of hours, and peace out.